All right, fellas, today we're going to be talking about how we can actually get more time. So, have you ever had some goals that you either thought about accomplishing or goals that you actually wrote down and said, all right, I'm going to try to achieve these goals? But you look at it and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get the time to actually lose the weight, or I don't know how I'm going to get the time to actually start a business, or I don't really have time to kind of dive into my faith. You have goals, but you're trying to figure out how in the world am I actually going to get time to accomplish those goals. If that's the case, today we're going to be talking about the one thing, actually the one mindset shift that you can do to start to actually create time. Yes, create time that'll be put toward achieving your goals today on Elite Performance with Dr. Brad. Here's the deal. I used to struggle with this idea of feeling like, I just lacked time in my day. I remember thinking like there was a lot of things that I wanted to do. There's a lot of things I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to, elevate and improve in multiple areas of life as a husband, father, business owner, as a man of faith. And I was trying to figure out how to do it. But I always had this thought that I just didn't have enough time in the day. Um, when someone would challenge me to achieve my goal or ask me how I was doing toward a goal, I'd just be like, "Oh, you know what? I'm just so busy. I'm super busy with work and life. Like I just don't have time to put toward it." And so that was an excuse. And quite honestly, it's an excuse that a lot of us use. And sometimes it's one of those excuses that, oh, you know what, I'm busy, I don't have enough time, that everybody kind of just understands, right? It's like, I get it, I'm busy too, I don't have a lot of time. And I don't know if you've ever felt that way. Like, I, maybe it's just me, but my guess is that you feel the same way. Like, I just wish I had more time in the day. Like, you have a goal of losing weight, but you don't have enough time in the day to go to the gym, or you want to spend more time with God, but you just don't have enough time. Like, you literally just feel like there's only a finite amount of time. I got a lot of stuff that I'm doing that I'm really trying to make happen, and I don't have time to spend with God, or I don't have time to do some of the extra stuff with my family or my spouse. Like, time is so precious, and I'm already spent. I'm already not really getting a whole lot of sleep. And some of these other goals that I have aren't really moving. So I really got to spend time toward that. And I don't have time to spend extra time toward something else. Have you ever thought that way? Listen, man, I know exactly how you feel. And hopefully today I can provide some insight on how to be able to really literally almost create time, to almost create time. Now, here's the deal. The typical thought is that we don't have enough time in our day. That's the typical thought, is that we don't have enough time in our day. And we see this as, if we spend more time. I'm going to focus on this word spend. If we spend more time doing this thing that we care about but don't care enough about to spend time toward it, I'll say that again, that thing that we care about but don't care enough about to actually spend time toward it, that we really feel like something else is going to slip. That's really what we think is, you know what, if I start spending time, and I'm gonna come back to this word spend. If I keep spending time, or if I spend time toward trying to, you know, uh, really pay attention to my health and lose weight or get in better shape, I'm gonna not have enough time for my business or for my career. If I spend some more time with God, or if I try to spend time with God, I'm going to lose time here. It's this kind of spend lose thought process. If I spend more time, um you know um trying to start this new business, I'm really going to lose time, elsewhere. And so, as long as we think that way, we're going to see that time being spent as something that's negative, right? We're gonna talk ourselves out of it because it's like it's literally drawing something away, right? I spend time here, I'm gonna lose something else. So as long as you feel like you're losing something as a result of spending that time, well, that's gonna lead to you taking no action toward that. And then it's gonna lead toward no results, and it's gonna lead to a year from now saying, I'm still the same weight, I still don't have peace in my life, I still am not close to God like I want to be, and ultimately saying I'm just not any closer toward being the man that I want to be, other than maybe in that single area that you're doing to either build your career or business, and nothing changes. That's what happens. I kind of get stuck in this rut. If I spend time, I'm gonna on this thing that I want to do to get better, I'm gonna lose something else. So as long as we feel like we're gonna lose something in the process, we won't take the action that we need to actually achieve the goals that we need to be in order to be the men that we want to be. And so here's the deal, man. I thought this way for a really long time. And as a result, I stayed stuck in my faith. I stayed stuck in my relationships. And quite honestly, it wasn't just stuck. Oftentimes I was moving backwards in my faith, moving backwards in my relationships with my wife and kids, moving backwards in my health. And it's a slow leak. It's a slow leak. Let me tell you, the slow leaks are the worst ones. Because see, when you're driving on the street and the wheel just pops and bursts, you know immediately like, oh wow, I got to change the tire. But on a slow leak, it just slowly leaks until one day, like not only does the tire go out, but the alignment goes out and everything goes out. And it's a slow leak. And so when we don't take the time, when we don't invest the time, again, key invest. I'm going to talk about the difference between investing and spending time here in a second. But when we don't, it ends up being a slow leak in each of these areas of our life, right? And so, like I said, I've thought this way for a long time. However, what I have come to see is that it is actually a misconception of how we see time. That's the real problem, is that it is a misconception of how we actually see and perceive time. Okay. And so what I found is that it's not so much about in these different areas of our life that we are spending time, which is how we see it. Right. Because if I spend money, I'm really losing money. Right. If I just spend money, if I just spend, if I just spend money, yeah, I might get something right there. I might get a product or I might get something, but I mean, like it's really kind of, it might be kind of finite. However, if you think about investing money, if you think about investing in something, there's an idea that when I invest, I'm getting a return on my investment. See, there's a difference between spending and investing. And most of us are thinking about spending extra time and we lose something else in the process. However, when you think about investing something, you get something back in return for your investment. And so the shift is we have to, in these different areas of our life, because we really have a personal responsibility to grow in each area, in our faith, our family, our health, our wealth, our career, our calling. We have a personal responsibility. If we're going to become the men that we ultimately want to be, and that I know we can be, is that we have a personal responsibility to actually invest time in each of these areas. But we got to look at it as an investment, because here's the reality: you're going to pay now or you're going to pay later in any of these areas of your life. So you can invest now and avoid paying the cost later of not investing up front. Because usually, if you don't pay now, if you don't invest the time now, it will, I can guarantee, mean that you will pay later with interest. So I give you an example. If you don't spend the upfront, if you don't invest, I'm sorry, the upfront, if you don't invest the upfront time toward spending some time with God, toward growing in your faith, it will turn into a later cost with interest of no peace, straying away, feeling worried, stressed, overwhelmed, less performance, anxiety, depression, right? So I can either choose to pay now and invest now or pay the cost with interest later. And I'm telling you, if you try to put credit on your goals, that's what we all trying to do. We're trying to put our goals on credit. I'm not going to pay now. I'm not going to pay the upfront cost now. I'll just pay it later. I'm not going to pay the upfront cost of spending a little extra time with my wife and children now. I'll just put it on credit and pay it with interest later. And let me tell you, the interest it costs too much because at some point you might be in big time debt to your family, to your faith, to your health, to your wealth, all these different areas of life. If we don't invest the time, we can't put our goals on credit. We might end up becoming in too great a debt over time. And that's what we do. Goals on credit. Pay the upfront cost now, and I can guarantee you, pay the upfront investment now. It will cost you less upfront to spend the extra time, to invest this extra time, because there is a return on the investment of time in each of these areas, and we'll break this down. So imagine this: you invest the upfront time, you now see it as an investment because you know you're gonna get something back. Now you feel excited about investing. You know what I'm saying? Like if I just say the word invest, I have investments, right? I feel like official, like I feel like I'm doing something worthy, like investing my time. I see it different. Instead of spending and losing something, I'm investing. Now I get a return on it. Now I get a return on it. We'll break down each of the returns that you get. But I see it different. Now that I see it different, I'm more excited to actually spend or to actually invest time toward it. Look, I'm still talking about spending. This just tells you where we are when what our mindset. Now, since I'm excited, since I feel excited about investing, I will actually create the consistent time needed toward this area, toward this goal, to eventually see results. So, for example, you can invest some time toward your faith, and the result is peace and high performance. That was my story. I started looking at it more as an investment because for the longest time, I remember thinking, like, ah, I don't know if I don't know if I have time to really like invest in my faith. You make that sound, I don't know. But I started looking at it a little different. I was like, if I just invest this time, the return of investment, let's just see what happens. Let me roll the dice, is what I was saying, right? Because I needed more peace. I needed more peace. I was broken. I needed more fulfillment. So I started investing time in my faith, just a little bit. Started out with a little bit at first, but I tried to stay consistent. Well, the return of that investment ended up being peace, fulfillment, and high performance. I mean, getting more done in less time, mental clarity, discernment, being able to almost like see the curveball as it's coming, right? Life slowed down. You hear about quarterbacks and talk about once they got to the league, it was real fast, but like eventually, like it slows down. Like life was still moving at a fast pace, but my perception was it was slowed down. I could see what was coming. I invested time in the faith, and that was the return of investment. Investment of the time in the family, return of investment, great relationships. And I actually got more time. I invested time in my family and my wife, and I got more time because you know what happened? They looked at me, the fact that I was fully present in that little extra time that I was giving them. And then when it was time for me to actually work, they'd be like, look, dad, go do your thing. My wife is like, look, do your thing. Because I helped fill their cup already. Now they're like, look, go spend some time. Investment of time in my health consistently. I feel great, have more energy, invest in your wealth. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Increase savings, increase net worth. So it's got to be an investment of time. And here's the reality. Here's the I'm gonna just be real with you. Here's the reality. In order to improve or grow in any area of life, right? Faith, family, health, wealth, career, calling, any one of these areas, you have to put reps in. Like repetitions have to be put in, right? Repetitions have to be put into the gym, right? Repetitions of actually, spending time with God, like repetitions with your family. Like you have to put reps in. Repetitions have to be put in order for results to happen. That's just it. And in order for us to actually put the reps in, we have to create time and space in order to put those reps in. We have to find time and space to put the reps in. We have to find time and space to practice these things. We have to. So we gotta put reps in. We know this, but in order to put the reps in consistently, we have to create time and space for these reps to be put in. If you don't create the time and space to actually put the reps in consistently, you got no shot towards results. You got no shot. So, in order to create this time and space, you have to do two things. First, you got to slow down. You got to slow down. You have to slow down long enough to stop and think. You have to slow down long enough to stop and think what's going on? What do I really want? What's the problem? What's stopping me? Like what do I really want? What's my problem? You got to stop and you got to stop. You got to slow down and stop long enough to think and just try to figure out, all right, where am I? What's the problem? Where do I want to go? Okay. And the second thing you got to do is you got to ask the question, no matter what the goal is that you're trying to achieve, is how you have to ask the question, how can I find the time? See, it's how can I? How can I find the time? Because if you just say, I don't have the time, you won't have the time. I'll say that again. If you just say, I don't have the time, you won't have the time. And as we've already said, you got to find some time and space to be able to put some reps in to actually improve and get better. So when you have the thought of questioning like how can I find the time, it is a solution oriented mentality. When someone asks you, "Hey, how can I do this?" or "How can I find the answer?" or "How can I get to where I'm going?" you immediately start trying to figure out the answer. You have to ask yourself, "How can I find the time?" When you start thinking, "How can I find the time?" you'll start thinking, "Okay, what do I have going on Tuesday?" No, Tuesday I actually might be able to move things away, and I might be able to consistently create about 30 minutes of time right after work and between going home that I can spend some time reading something toward my business, or I can create 30 minutes right here to be able to spend some quality present time with my wife or kids, or 30 minutes here, pocket here to be able to spend some extra time toward my faith, creating time and space to put in these reps. But you got to ask yourself, how can I find the time? Where can I get this time? That's how you can create it. You can literally go from I don't have time to how can I find the time to actually finding the time and putting the time in. Now, once you find the time and space, you got to honor it. You got to honor it. You have to honor that time and space toward whatever aspect, toward whatever area of life we're talking about that you're trying to achieve a goal in that space. So here's what I want you guys to do. This week, this week, I want you to slow down. Step one, I want you to slow down. Slow down long enough. As a matter of fact, if anything, create time and space to just slow down and think. Slow down, and whatever it is that you want to improve upon, just think about that. Think about whatever that is that you might be some area that you might be struggling in. And just slow down and stop for for like 30 minutes. Just stop. This will be a high yield use of your time. Just stop, slow down, figure out what you want. Figure out what is going on right now that you don't like. Next question is you got to ask how. How can I find some time? How can I find pockets of time to start putting in reps? Even if it's 10 minutes, see, 10 minutes accumulated over time creates massive change. But no time put in over time creates no change. But where can you start to create a pocket of time? Ask how is the second step. And third step is uh, honor that time and realize it's an investment of time in any one of these areas that you see that you're trying to grow in. Choose one. Start off with one, either your faith, family, health, wealth, career, or your calling slash purpose. Like, start with one. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you a clue of which one to start with if you haven't already. The greatest thing that you can do to create time and space in, the greatest creation of time and space that you can use to invest time in is going to be your faith, is going to be your relationship with God. Why, you ask? Is because you will have more clarity than you ever thought. And quite honestly, you need your cup to be filled to the brim and overflowing in order for you to be your best and pour into others. It's the only place where you will be able to sustain getting your cup filled, period, in the story. I'm not going to go into all the reasons, but that is one of the main reasons. You are trying to be your best. An indirect relationship with him allows you to literally, like pieces of a puzzle coming together, it is a perfect fit in order for you to perform at a level of extreme high performance as a man of faith, father, husband, business owner, uh, optimize your health, wealth, every area. This is the greatest area that right now you can commit to creating a little bit of time and space and start putting some reps in, right? The time spent doing that, even if it's just 10 minutes to start, more can happen in that 10 minutes than you trying to do that 10 minutes going and focusing on some other goal that you really think is you got to just spend more time toward that. No, slow down, create space and time toward this and watch what happens. And so here's the deal. I want you to uh, imagine if you did this toward your goals, right? Imagine if you just applied this principle that I'm talking about toward your goals, just a little bit of space and time, right? It's not enough for us to say, I don't have time. I'll put it this way. It's not enough for us to say, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm also not putting in any time or creating any time or space to put in reps toward our goals. We don't have the opportunity to say, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm also not putting in time and space. Those two things aren't congruent. All right. And as always, man, if I can help you foster that, if I can help you do that, just hit me up and let me know.